hear about the cool things they have to offer, and appreciate their support as well. So for this year's conference, we have we ended up with 245 registrants, 120 guests, 52 kids. We have 29 sponsors and 12 exhibitors. So we appreciate everybody's participation. It's a great conference. We have great attendance. So looking forward to another good year. And so I want to recognize the host registration committee. They're all outside still working hard. Jared Allen's our chair, Chris Gallion, MC Martin, Kayla Swanson, and Andra Taylor-Dean. That's Andra, not Andrea. And our AV committee, Paul Sloan, Majid, Mike Montano, Moshtaba, and Scott Moeller. So thank that group. It's a great work year after year. And then I'm going to pass it off to Andrew to talk about our technical committee and our technical program. Thank you.
A lot of names in the technical program. Want to just give a big thanks. If you're on the technical program, if you can stand, get recognized. Really appreciate everyone's efforts. So, Robinson, I know you're going to lead the charge here. Yeah. All right, it's just Robinson. So, given the conference and the amount of interest and really just everything, being the theme of getting into focus, we touch on a lot of just really everything that we do as far as in the room, across Georgia, the discussions, some of where we're looking ahead, also what we're doing now currently on projects. So really appreciate everyone's input for making sure that we've got a full, well-rounded technical program. You can look through that. You can look through your booklet too. Plan out which sessions you want to go see. Jared told you to kind of stay put, but I would say if you do that, check in with the folks in the other sessions. Really have a lot of good content to go through this year. PDHs and AICP, everyone's pretty excited about that, right? I've got a lot of papers to pass out for that. Just make sure you get your PDHs and AICP as needed. Same sort of program as far as from the total amount of hours and everything. You can expect the same sort of session as last year from start to finish. And like Jared said, having a great gap and opportunity to go outside and enjoy the very warm, humid weather tomorrow for volleyball. Looking forward to that. But yeah, ultimately, really looking forward to all the sessions. Thanks to all the speakers and the moderators putting everything together, answering my emails. Really just getting everything together. Looking forward to a really great session. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Christy. Go through the president's remarks.
All right, I had to lower down first, but good morning, everyone. How are you doing? It's good? All right. Before I get started, we have some seats over here in the front. We have at least 10 seats, so if you want to sit, please move up and you can sit. Yeah, just feel free. All right. So glad to see you all in St. Simon's, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this year's summer seminar. How many of you are first time here? This conference? Quite a few. Yeah, including Anna, our keynote. Yeah, thank you. How many of you are coming from out of state? I know one from Boston, and you? Yeah, where are you coming from? Florida. Yeah, who else in the room? Okay. Oh, Mike, you don't count. Mike Holtz. Okay, so we always have 3 from the state. And I know Andrew, I know you used to work with Andrew at WSB. He's from Boston, so you're the farthest person who came from out of state. So thank you all. I like to, so Summer Seminar is our biggest event of Georgia ITE every year. And organizing such a big event is almost a full-time job. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Jared Wall and Andrew Park for their dedication and hard work. And, they've done a fantastic job. And Jared for orchestrating every aspect of the conference, and Andrew Park for the robust technical program. And there's a committee chairs and committee members who volunteered, and then they put lots of effort for this summer seminar. So just give another big hand for everyone for who participated. I also want to thank you to our sponsors and exhibitors. We couldn't have done it without your generous support, so thank you very much. Finally, thank you to our keynote, Anna, all of the speakers and moderators, and everyone who decided to come down to St. Simon's to participate. Thank you so much. All right. So I just want to start with some fundamentals, like ITE goals and missions. So as an organization, ITE is uniquely positioned to embrace all transportation professionals, including engineers and planners. And I see a lot of planners in the room. I'm very happy to see many of them. And Georgia ITE, throughout the year, we lead lots of activities and events that align with this IT values and goals. And as you can see here, there are 4 values: technical excellence, community and collaboration, altruism and giving back to the community, and DEI. So, and this particular conference hits all of these aspects. And as you can think of altruism and giving back to community, we have scholarship committee, and the Caitlin is there, but we do a silent auction and live auction to build money for scholarship. So this conference, I just want to say, it hits every single IT values, and we do quite a good job, and they agree with us. And we've had about 8 times outstanding section award from the Southern District this year. So this year we got this award all year April, and we are going to put as one of the promising candidates for the International Best Section Award next month. So we're very excited, and Sam and I will be representing Georgia ITE in Orlando next month, in August. It's ITE annual conference is happening. The theme is the safety, innovative pathway to safer transportation, and one of the keynote speakers is the National Safety Council, the CEO and president, she'll be speaking. So, fingers crossed, we are one of the candidates for the Best Section Award internationally. But this is all thanks to all of the volunteers, the chairs, the board members, committee chairs, and all of the volunteers, and great energy within Georgia IT. So I just want to thank everyone. So I have a few announcements. So if you come to the Tuesday banquet, I'll have a little bit longer presentation, to go over some of our past events and upcoming events. But today I have a couple major announcements, and that's about it. So this weekend, we sent out a newsletter, but North Carolina site, ITE is leading this Hurricane Helene Recovery Weekend trip. This is this weekend. So it starts Friday and Saturday. Saturday is the full day, the volunteering work, but there's a webinar portion, and I want to highlight that webinar at 3:30 on Friday, there's a virtual option. So if you can attend virtually, that really matters for us also. And Friday there's an evening social, and then Saturday full day. There's a partial shift available, but there's a volunteering day is Saturday. So if you are interested, if anyone is thinking about it, talk to me, and I might go, and then I have a couple friends coming with me, so just let me know. This will be a very memorable and impactful event that Georgia Section ITE works with North Carolina. I'm very excited about this. Finally, you've been hearing about this technical trip. It's actually happening, but not this year, but next year. So our final set date is April 18th from Saturday for a week trip to the Netherlands, Amsterdam, Netherlands. And we will be biking and using transit, moving around the city, meeting with Dutch engineers to talk about their design and multimodal aspect of their transportation systems. And we'll have some technical sessions, and we'll do some site visits. So it's going to be a great opportunity for us to talk to Dutch engineers and actually see firsthand experience on their multimodal transportation system. So just be on the lookout. There will be more information, and we will be having webinars and maybe the local technical tour this actual trip. So hopefully, we get many interest and we go together. All right. with that, this is my last slide. So upcoming events, except for the two that I just mentioned. Next, at the August 8th, we have a Braves game, annual Braves game, like working with ITS Georgia. Our monthly meeting in August 14th, that's in joint meeting with Georgia Planning Association. September 9th, this is like the first time young members, there's kickball tournament. So if you're good at kicking balls, just be ready. So Georgia IT Intern Day, I mean, that's a brand new thing that we're trying to initiate this year. I mean, the more information will come, but Sam, Jody are working on this event. Georgia IT Leadership Program that will be happening in October, and Technical Exchange and Tour in Chattanooga. We are in planning for that event. That is a joint meeting with Tennessee site. Finally, our annual meeting will be on Thursday, December 11th, and Sam is on this, and this will be a little bit different. You know, Sam, you know, he always brings like so many creative ideas. This will be a weekday night, Thursday night. It will be at the theater in Decatur somewhere, and then it'll be like a red carpet event. So, I mean, it's standing events, there'll be maybe some bar, and there will be band, but it's like a, you know, red carpet events, like, so. Yeah, be on the lookout for more information, but that will be our annual meeting. So with that, I really appreciate everyone show up in St. Simon's, and I really hope everyone enjoyed the conference. With that, I'm gonna hand it back to Andrew so that he can introduce our Anna today for Keynote. So thank you everyone, and enjoy the conference.
So we introduced Anna earlier. Really excited about our keynote speech today. Anna being the Executive Director and CEO of the ARC. I will go through the full bio to give you all the background that you need. So Anna Roach is the Executive Director and CEO of the Atlanta Regional Commission, otherwise known as the ARC. In this role, she directs the agency's work in policy areas that span the various disciplines under ARC's purview. She also leads the Commission's engagement with elected and appointed officials at the federal, state, and local levels. Prior to joining ARC in 2022, Roach served as the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Strategy Officer of Fulton County, a lawyer by training, and you'll get your traffic engineering full fill here today. Roach has worked as a management consultant focusing on operational and business process efficiencies, and has held several key legal leadership positions during her career. Roach is a member of the Rotary Club of Atlanta and the American Bar Association. She serves as an advisory board member at Tyler Technologies, as well as Avenue Insights and Analytics, and is a past board chair of the Atlanta March of Dimes. She holds a Juris Doctor from St. John's University and a Bachelor of Arts in Poli-Sci from SUNY Cortland. Roach resides in the city of South Fulton with her husband and 3 children. So please join me in welcoming Anna Roach.
Gosh, I haven't heard that much about myself in a really long time. Thank you, Andrew, for that incredibly generous introduction. And thank you so much to President Christie for inviting me to be here, as well for the ITE Summer Seminar and Planning team for considering me to address this incredible group. Now, before I dive into my remarks, I want to take just a moment of personal privilege to see if Guy Rousseau is in there he is. Okay, so the reason I am shouting out Guy is because Guy is a member of our incredible team at the Atlanta Regional Commission, and you're going to hear from him here, I think 2 sessions from now, and he's going to be brilliant. I know many of you in here are from the private sector. You think you have the best planners in the state of Georgia, but I am here to tell you that the Atlanta Regional Commission has, hands down, the absolute best team of data scientists and planners in the United States, and Guy is a very important part of that incredible crew. So be listening out for his presentation later on. Now, the Georgia coast is such an incredible setting for this important gathering, right? It's the summertime, this is the summer seminar, and it's just a really good opportunity from what I have seen so far for this incredible group of professionals to get together, shed the day-to-day for a little bit, get to some professional development and camaraderie. So congratulations, President Christie. This is an incredible setting for me. And that's also why I was so excited when Christy sent the note and invited me to be here. This is just a rare opportunity, not just to be in the Georgia sunshine, but also to address a group like this. If y'all know about the Atlanta Regional Commission, we work closely with our member jurisdictions. I don't always get an opportunity to address a group of people that understand transportation and really get the work that we do. So it's really a pleasure for me to be here this morning. I'm going to be highlighting some of the transportation work that the Atlanta Regional Commission does. Let me see if I can get to my slides here. I'm going to be highlighting some of the work that the Atlanta Regional Commission does. But I'm also going to be touching on some of the projects that we're working on now. There we go. Yeah. That we're working. So taken together, this is going to really give a good overview of some of the critical, important steps that we are taking at the Atlanta Regional Commission to fulfill our vision, which is to create one great region in Metro Atlanta. So I'm going to start sort of with the big picture. ARC has a very unique role in our region. We are charged with tackling some of the Metro Atlanta's greatest challenges collectively and through a regional lens. After all, when you think about issues like air quality, transportation, water, and traffic, those issues don't stop at a city or a county line. It really takes collaboration and a conversation across multiple jurisdictions in order to come up with solutions to these really important quality of life issues. They're far too complex for just one local government to say that they are responsible for, and so a collaborative approach is going to be absolutely required. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. It talks a little bit about why, where we were founded, and what our principal roles are. The Atlanta Regional Commission is one of 12 regional commissions established by the Georgia Planning Act, and our principal role is to work with local governments and to help with comprehensive planning. That's basically how and why we were funded. And our geography changes based on the type of responsibility that we're exercising at any given point. So if you look at that map there, it shows a 20-county area for which we have responsibility for long-range planning as the Metropolitan Planning Organization. But if you think about our role in urban area security, that's just having responsibility for the core 5 counties in Metro Atlanta. So really complex structure we have as an organization, but we do a lot of important work. Like President Christie, I do want to kick off this presentation by talking about our why at the Atlanta Regional Commission. And that includes our vision, which I talked about before, which is to create one great region in Metro Atlanta. But I also want to talk a little bit about our mission, which is the foundation for sort of every single thing that we do in Metro Atlanta. Our mission is to foster thriving communities for all in Metro Atlanta through data-informed planning and investment. And as I go through the program, I really do want you to remember that mission and that vision that we talked about on this slide, because it really serves as the foundation and the anchor for the investments that we make and the community services that we deliver in Metro Atlanta. ARC, as I stated, works every day to improve the quality of lives of Metro Atlantans. And I want to share a few numbers with you that demonstrate the impact that we are making in Metro Atlanta. I want you also to think about, though, that behind all of these big numbers are actual people, actual communities, and actual places that we invest in and care very deeply about. We have allocated $5.2 billion in federal, state, and local transportation funds, and that's through 2028 in our transportation improvement plan. We've also invested more than $380 million in our Livable Centers Initiative grants. I know many of you in here that work for the planning firms have worked with our local governments to implement Livable Centers initiatives funding from the Atlanta Regional Commission. So I know you're familiar with that. That program has been around for the last 25 years. It's still a benchmark program of ARC because we've looked at all the MPOs across the country, and none of them have implemented quite as innovative an approach to investing transportation dollars. It's where we leverage the ability to be able to drive how the region is growing is through this Livable Centers initiative. And in the past 5 years, we have provided about $150 million to our region's senior population through investments in senior services agencies across the Metro Atlanta region, and we do that across 10 counties in Metro Atlanta. And the last number that you see up there on the slide is 10.4 million, and that is the reduction in vehicle miles traveled by residents last year alone who participate in our Georgia Commute Options program. That is the program that we deliver on behalf of our incredible state partners at the Georgia Department of Transportation, and we're really proud of the work that has happened there. So those are really big numbers, right? So let me explain in the next couple of slides how exactly we go about accomplishing those things. ARC has a broad portfolio of services that we implement. For those of you who know us, you know our work is complex. But it may help to think about our work if you break it down into 3 categories: strategic investments, which is sort of at the core of what we do, community services, and then regional resources. And over the next couple of slides, I'll provide a little bit of detail about each of these buckets that we work in. I'll start with strategic investments. Here's a question: what makes a community a great place to live? You guys herald from all over the state of Georgia and Florida and Boston, I heard, right? What makes a community a great place to live in? No matter where you come from in the state of Georgia, and perhaps in Boston or Florida or somewhere else, there's some common themes around what makes a community a great place to live. Those include safe, walkable neighborhoods, parks and green spaces, places to relax, commune with people and play in. Vibrant town centers are really important as well, and a well-maintained transportation network that connects people to jobs and critical services, right? Those are the foundations of what makes a good community. Well, ARC has been making investments across Metro Atlanta in all of those areas for over 80 years. And at ARC, what we like to say is that great places don't happen by accident. It takes careful and deliberate planning driven by feedback from the community to develop a shared vision for a great future in each of our communities. Now let's shift a little bit of our focus from investments we make and things we do at the community level to that at the individual level. ARC also provides a number of services that help individuals live lives at their best. As the area's agency on aging, we provide critically important services that help older adults and people with disabilities live more independently in their homes. We also are the workforce development agency for the 7-county metro area, and that means we help people of all ages connect to training and jobs in Metro Atlanta. Really proud of the work in those 2 direct services areas that we have. And then finally, regional resources. Beyond the programs and projects that we do, the ones I already mentioned, ARC assists our communities in many other ways. And that takes me to this 3rd area, regional resources. It includes efforts to keep our region safe and prepared. We manage the agency's area agency on aging, but also our urban area security initiative. How many of y'all have heard that the World Cup is coming to Metro Atlanta? little thing. Right. Yeah. So through our Urban Area Security Initiative, we invest federal Homeland Security funds to make sure that our local public safety partners have what they need to communicate across multiple agencies. We support our emergency management agencies with funding that they need for equipment as well. And so those are some of the ways that we are investing in regional resources to support the Metro Atlanta area. So I want to turn now to the second part of my presentation that I promised you, which was that we're going to talk a little bit about some of the specific initiatives that ARC is investing in and what our agency is working on. Par for the course, right? Infrastructure. It's always a top priority for us at the Atlanta Regional Commission, and ARC plays a really important role in our region's transportation planning landscape. As many of you here know, and I mentioned before, we serve as the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the 20-county area. And that's an important role. We don't do this ourselves. We work again with our state partners at the Georgia Department of Transportation, but also importantly with our local governments and transportation agencies and all other stakeholders, community members and the like, to make those federal and state investments in our transportation infrastructure. The way that we do that primarily comes across through our Transportation Improvement Program. That essentially is a bucket of $168 billion worth of funds that we program, and that's between now and 2050, right? And that is a combination of ARC funds, the Georgia Department of Transportation funds, and our local funds. And those investments are to improve highways, provide new bike and pedestrian networks, and expand transit service throughout Metro Atlanta. I want to talk a little bit about the specific projects that we're working on that some of you actually in this room may be working on. Tara Boulevard, one of South Metro's most important thoroughfares, is getting a major upgrade to improve its pedestrian safety and become more accessible to people using transit. This project will add sidewalks, street lighting, and ADA ramps for more than 11 miles of that corridor. Very, very important project. It's also a gateway to the Hartsfield, Atlanta airport, so very important project that we are currently working on. Looking at our region's northern suburbs, Big Creek Parkway will provide an important new connection across Georgia 400 in the city of Roswell. This will improve accessibility in the busy Georgia 400 corridor, which has become one of our region's most important employment centers. And then in the city of Atlanta, MARTA is building bus rapid transit in Summerhill and along Campbellton Road. Those are going to be our first demonstrations of BRT transit service in Metro Atlanta. Really looking forward to putting that in front of our constituents, because without a proof of concept, as it were, it's hard to sell people on this as rapid transit. So really looking forward to those projects coming to fruition. You know, the federal funding that has been plussed up by the bipartisan infrastructure law over the last couple of years, in addition to the state of Georgia's plus up and investments in transportation, has been incredible news for MPOs and planning agencies all across the state and the private sector as well. But that increase in funding also comes along with challenges. You know, we know that many construction firms, planning firms, engineers, they're having trouble filling jobs that currently exist. Let alone when you think about layering on an additional 30% of transportation funding onto it. So to keep pace, the Atlanta Regional Commission has been thinking a lot about this. We don't want to get into a problem where we finally have money to invest in infrastructure, but no people to build things, right? And so we will be the first in the nation of an NPO that is taking transportation dollars from the bipartisan infrastructure law and flexing those dollars to invest in workforce development. It's a partnership that we have with the Technical College System of Georgia as well as Georgia DOT. The pilot is kicking off this year in 2025. We're hoping to train in that pilot 100 skilled labor employees for the workforce and connect them directly to construction jobs at the end of their training at TCSG. So we're really excited about that, kicking that off this year, and I'll be back next year, hopefully, President Christie, to tell y'all how that's going. That's a shameless plug there. Anyway, freight and logistics is another area in which ARC is both studying and watching very, very closely. I want you to consider these three numbers. Each year, the Atlanta region handles more than 231 tons of freight valued at about $400 billion. You know, when I first started talking about freight, the reaction I used to get from people is, yeah, it's all those people coming from New York going to Florida. No, it's y'all stuff. This is all y'all stuff. The Amazon orders, the just-in-time whatever deliveries, the furniture, the couch you bought from God knows where, it's y'all stuff that's on this commercial freight traffic and volume that we are seeing in Metro Atlanta. It's a good thing. But let's not kid ourselves. This is not passing through Metro Atlanta. This is our commerce. It's important to the growth of the region and the state. And so we have got to figure out how we responsibly accommodate it in our communities. Second number I want you to think about. Nearly 1 in 3 jobs in Metro Atlanta is tied to the freight and logistics industry. 1 in 3. And then finally, Atlanta ranks number 1 in the Southeast and number 5 in the country for industrial development. And that's a category that includes warehouses and distribution centers that rely so heavily on the freight that you see on our highways and roads, right? And ARC's role, much like many of you professionals in here, is to help figure out and manage this fast-growing part of our economy in Georgia and Metro Atlanta. This spring, we're going to wrap up work on our freight plan, and it's going to include a toolkit for local governments to help them learn how to adopt policies that better accommodate freight traffic in their communities, because it's really a significant portion of our economy. And what is going to drive the future of some of the work that happens there as well. So the freight plan is also, in addition to support for local communities, going to provide strategic guidance to help them manage truck parking. How many of you coming down here saw trucks lined up on entrances and ramps to the highways? Yeah, that they're not supposed to be there. It's not safe for our truck drivers. It's not safe for our commuters, and we've got to do better. We've got to make sure, I mean, these are not sexy developments, right? These aren't, you know, the shiny thing to put in your community, but if we don't figure out a way how to responsibly incorporate truck parking into our communities, we're going to end up with a much bigger problem than we see right now. So it's hard to overstate the importance of freight to our region, our economy as a state. And so it's important that we are diligent as planners and engineers in thinking about how to accommodate that traffic. Now take a look at this photo, right? You see people walking, bicycling, interacting in a safe, protected space. Not too long ago, scenes like this were rare in Metro Atlanta, but not anymore. I was at the breakfast table this morning, and the topic of bike ped came up, pedestrian trails. It is like the hottest thing in transportation conversations right now. And so it is something that we are thinking about and planning for funding at the Atlanta Regional Commissions. Bike ped paths are being built all across our region. Think about sort of the mother of all trails, right, which is the Beltline. Which is close to completion with a very aggressive schedule to have that completed in the next couple of years. The city of Atlanta has also Noonday Creek, which is another recent trail implemented. And in Cobb County, you see the cycle track. That's actually what's pictured here in the city of Decatur is pictured here. So we have at ARC developed a regional trail vision. Our chief operating officer is Mike Alexander. He's not here today, but what Mike aspires to do is to bike all the way from Metro Atlanta to Alabama and not have to get off of a trail. I love to talk about that vision of his. It's incredible. It's attainable, and we're well on our way with this incredibly aggressive regional trail plan that we have developed for Metro Atlanta. Like I said, all local communities want to figure out how to get their version of the Beltline in their communities, because they know it's not just about walkability. It's a secondary mode of transportation to get people from here to there. It's about health, and then most of all, it is an economic development catalyst in communities when you implement trails in the right way. So very excited about the work that we are doing here. And then another transportation-related priority involves, of course, innovation and technology. The world is changing fast, and as planners and engineers, we know that one of the most dynamic ways that it's changing is in transportation. We got to be ready for what's to come. And one of the major technological changes that we are seeing, particularly in transportation, is the shift to electric vehicles. Raise your hand if you have an EV in your house. Okay, I do as well, and I took the chance of driving it from Metro Atlanta to this conference, and it really wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad, but we do have to do better. Of course, you know the number one barrier to EV adoption is range anxiety, and so we've got to continue to press on to make sure that we make charging available in significant ways so that we can eliminate range anxiety as a barrier to adoption. But we made it here, and we'll be making it back, of course. You know, every year we do a survey of the Metro Atlanta constituency called Metro Atlanta Speaks, and we ask the question about EVs. 1/3 of our respondents said that they either had an EV or plan to buy one in the next 5 years. So we do have an imperative. And as you are working with local communities in your contracts, your transportation contracts, remind them of how important this is and why they need to be thinking in their investments about making sure that they have a plan to accommodate our expanding EV adoption rate. To that end as well, you know, this is a brand new industry, I guess, for Georgia and most of the United States. And we have partnered with Goodwill of North Georgia to offer a specifically tailored training program to develop more EV technicians in Metro Atlanta. It is a job that barely existed 5 years ago, right? But it will soon be an essential skill as you all encourage your jurisdictions that you're working with to implement more EV charging capability. We're going to need people to maintain those chargers as well. So just keep it in the back of your mind and keep encouraging it through your work. And of course, ARC's priorities cover a lot more than transportation, as we've talked about before with housing and workforce. I'm going to highlight a couple of things that we're talking about that are beyond transportation real quickly. The first is housing. I have been preaching this for about 2 years now. We are going to lose our competitive edge as a Metro Atlanta region and as a state if we do not get serious about our housing crisis that we are facing. That, and selfishly, I have 2 sons in college that I don't want to move back home when they're done, so we've got to figure this out if for no reason other than that one. We need more housing, and we've got to preserve the affordability of the housing that we have, even as we build more housing. And we're tackling that challenge from many different ways at ARC, but I encourage you all to be thinking about it again in the work that you do as well, because ARC can't solve this problem, and no one jurisdiction in our Metro Atlanta region can solve this problem. It's really going to take all hands on deck approach. We have communities in Metro Atlanta that are doing a lot. You know, the mayor of the city of Atlanta has committed to a significant, I think, 20,000 units of affordable housing over the next couple of years. I think he's already halfway there. We've got Patty Garrett in the city of Decatur, who's doing some really progressive things with her zoning. And so we have communities that are leaning into this. But again, in your work, you got to figure out a way how to bring this up as a regional challenge that our local communities need to be thinking about solving. And finally, there is no doubt that our region has to take steps to address ongoing issues related to climate change. President Christie talked a little bit about in her remarks about Hurricane Helene and the incredible effects of that we're still having to put our hands together to try to address. Extreme weather events are a thing. I don't care what you call it. Climate change, I don't care what you call it. At the end of the day, our weather is doing unpredictable things at unpredictable times, and there are things that we can do about it, right? So through our work at ARC in transportation, as well as community planning and water resources management, we are making progress. Our air quality is cleaner than it has been in decades. It's not just our work. It's ours along with our partners, but we are doing things to make a difference. There's still a long way to go. We've launched a climate and resiliency program led by the incredible John Phillips Bourne, who's also not here, but I love to shout out ARC employees anytime I get a chance. It brings all of our climate work that we're doing at our agency together under one umbrella. We try to make sure that everybody in their work is thinking about climate, even as we do aging services or workforce development. Everybody's got to be thinking about this climate thing in their work as well. So that is definitely something that I want to leave you thinking about and ask for your allyship and help with as you do your work across Metro Atlanta and the state of Georgia as well. That's it, folks. I want to thank you so much for having me here today. I hope you have a little better understanding of who we are as an agency, how we invest, and how we partner with our communities to create one great region. Our region, as I have emphasized in my remarks, cannot succeed until all of our residents have an opportunity to succeed and all of our partners get in this game together, right? And so I'm going to continue to ask you in your work to reinforce the things that are top of mind for us at ARC. I urge you to stay in touch with me, stay in touch with us, so we can make this vision of ours to create one great region in Metro Atlanta a true reality. Thank you again for being here, President Christie. Thank you one more time.
If anybody has questions for Anna, we have a few minutes.
Questions? Yes, sir.
So working from a local agency, TDM was always on the back burner. Had we only known that it would just take a global pandemic to make these things a reality, maybe we could have done it earlier. But how has ARC changed? How has ARC's, I guess, process changed, taking into consideration work from home, people working remotely? I think you pointed out a couple of people who moved out of the area but are still working in the area. Is that changed your strategies or the way you do your job?
That's a great question. We are still trying to figure this out because even though more of the region is working from home, what we have seen is that we now don't have traffic in the peak hours that we used to have, right? 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock used to be your traffic times. You sit there for 2 hours, you listen to NPR, whatever you do. You knew at that time you were going to be in traffic. The issue that has come up now that people are working from home is that we have no idea when there's going to be traffic. We have no idea when the miles traveled or the volume is going to increase on our highways in Metro Atlanta, right? And so that makes it much more difficult for us to be able to put things in place to be able to address it. So the only answer I have to your question is that we're still studying it, we're still learning it, and we're still trying to figure out if there is a discernible pattern in the behavior of our travelers that we can begin to start developing some solutions for it. But of course, our Georgia Commute Options and TDM programs are the biggest part of what are going to help us solve that problem, is to encourage people and incent them to provide alternate means of transportation to single occupancy vehicle as they travel across the region. Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned you set aside $150 million for senior services.
Yes.
Can you share more specifics on that?
Absolutely. So within 10 of our counties, we serve as the Area Agency on Aging, and we receive federal funds through the state to the Atlanta Regional Commission, and we provide those funds to the senior service centers in those communities. And the types of services that they provide are in-home care, meals. We do a home repair program as well, and so those are direct services to seniors through ARC and its partners, senior services centers, and yeah, it's about $150 million over the last 5 years.
And any plans to address homelessness problem in your area?
That is not a mandate for ARC. We don't receive funding to do that, but as you know, the City of Atlanta is a member jurisdiction of the Atlanta Regional Commission, and folks that are unhoused don't live anywhere, and so they move across city boundaries indiscriminately. And so it's something that we have conversations about. We convene city and county leaders to have conversations about, but we don't directly invest in it. We do believe that the investments that we are making in the housing spectrum, all the way from down payment assistance to incentivizing transportation that allows for low-income housing to be built. We believe that those are contributing factors, but we do not invest specifically and directly into homelessness services. Yes, sir.
Question. Is ARC looking at the impact of small electric mobility, like e-bikes, golf carts, little autonomous delivery robots, those sorts of vehicles?
Yes. Let me give you two specific examples. ARC managed the launch of the City of Atlanta's e-bike program last year. It was a $1 million investment. We developed an application process to be able to award the funding. It's an e-bike voucher. And so that is a program that I'm really proud of, because we made sure that the majority of the investment went to low-income households. The other thing that we are investing in and partnering with the, you're going to test my memory now, it's the Aerotropolis CID, led by Gerald McDowell, is a personal rapid transit pilot that they are doing with a California company, basically developing a pilot route from the Georgia Convention Center, which is right across 85, to and from the airport. And it's on-demand electric personal rapid transit vehicles. So yes, it is something that we really need to fit. You know, there's this entire debate about how much people want to expand heavy rail and invest in the traditional modes of transit. You know, the jury's out on how much the federal government is going to continue to invest in that as well. And so the types of transportation that you are talking about are going to become very important. You know, our behavior has changed. We do like our, things on demand. We do like personalized service, and we got to start looking at those alternative modes of transportation that provide that personalized service and are electrified. Any other questions? Yes.
Speaking of other regions, is ARC looking at or has obtained best practices from other metro regions, or have we been an inspiration to other metro?
We are best practices. What are you talking about? No, it's funny because we do an annual trip called the Link Trip every year. Last year we went to New York and really supposed that we were going to this big metropolitan region and we were going to learn so much from them, and we did. You know, their investments in economic development are at a scale of countries, right? So just hearing the numbers compared to our economic development projects in Metro Atlanta, we're like, what? But I will tell you, what they said at the end of that trip that they learned from us were in two areas in particular. The progress that we have made with homelessness and housing, they are light years behind us. They're still trying to get roaches out of their public housing, right? Meanwhile, we are doing so much more in Metro Atlanta on housing and connecting the provision of housing services to employment as well. And they were just like eyes glued and ears open for our sessions on housing. And the other was the Beltline. They are doing a very, very small version of what is now Metro Atlanta's Beltline. And they were, again, all ears on how we were able to get community support around it and get a foundation in place that basically doubled the investment that they were getting from state and local governments to get the project done so fast. So yeah, I think regions learn from each other, and I think that Metro Atlanta has just as much to offer as it has to learn from other places. Any other questions? Yes.
So when you mentioned the World Cup coming, how does ARC plan, or what are your thoughts on the potential of the increase of population? You know, I'm a native Atlanta, and I've seen how the population grew after the Olympics and really after COVID. How do we brace for and prepare for that population growth that we know is going to, you know, come after the World Cup? You know, when it comes to housing and our infrastructure, how does ARC plan?
Well, I will say, and Guy will say amen to this, what we have been trying to reinforce with everybody who will listen is that our population projections at ARC show that we will add 1.8 million people to the Metro Atlanta region by 2050. This is outside of the World Cup, 1.8 million people. So when y'all are on Instagram and ATL Scoop starts saying stuff like, we're full, I need y'all all to get in the comments and say, no, we're not, because 1.8 million people are coming here whether we want to or not. And so that's what's so important about the work that you all are doing as engineers and planners, is that, again, as you do this work with our local jurisdictions, just remind them to be planning for the future, planning for that population growth. Now, there are a lot of things that are happening right now that causes us to begin to rethink our population projections over the next couple of years. You have the World Cup that may increase that number. You've got a reduction in migration and immigration that may decrease that number. So we are in this space now where we're doing a lot of watching of what these policies and projects will do to impact the projections that we made at the end of the last census. So stay tuned. Guy, any predictions? Yeah, we'll probably come out with updated population estimates even before the next census, because we've got a lot of moving parts right now. I think your question, though, was what are we doing to prepare? I think it's very much on the mind of the mayor of the city of Atlanta. This is the way he puts it. We need to make sure that we make the World Cup, not that the World Cup comes to us. I messed that up. But basically what he is saying is we got to make sure that this thing just doesn't happen to us, that we are prepared for whatever it has to offer, and make sure that when the World Cup comes, when they leave, they don't leave sort of a wake of use of resources and hasn't put anything in place that will permanently benefit the region. So it's top of mind for him, as well as the other major counties, Gwinnett, Fulton, Cobb, and the like that are there. So they've got lots of folks thinking about it and planning for that. It's a great question. Yes, sir.
So are you working with the local communities for transit expansion, or do you have any initiatives to come in the near future to expand it and bring it more to the country?
Yeah, y'all make me cry when you bring up transit. So we had hoped, obviously, that Gwinnett County had a transit referendum on last fall that did not pass. Cobb County had a transit expansion referendum on the ballot last fall that did not pass. You know, just the way that my brain works, I like to sort of internalize those actions. I don't blame the people. I think immediately about what we have done to fail to convince them that expanding transit is important to the future of Metro Atlanta. So to me, it's just going back and resetting and having conversations with those communities. Right now, we don't have a lot of funding that we see on the horizon that will accommodate transit expansion in any way. And I have to be open and honest when I say that with those referenda not passing, then the local sources of funding for transit, we know, are not going to expand. And then as we read the tea leaves with the federal policy, they just have other priorities. I think that they are intent on keeping the operation and maintenance funding for transit in place so that we can maintain what we have. I just don't see a lot of federal prioritization of transit capital or transit expansion right now. And that may change because the policy is being formed as we speak. So we have to re-lick the calf, as they say. We've got to sit down and really rethink how we make this business case for transit and how we start thinking about alternatives to transit as well. Good question. I'm optimistic. I just don't have a lot of good news right now. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Speaking of those alternatives, when referenda don't go quite the way that would be advantageous to these transit initiatives, how do you make sure that all of the communities, the other outlying counties outside the perimeter, with their own agenda, their own priorities, all stay on the same page of what matters for the region as a whole?
Yeah, I think that's the next step. I think now that the referenda did not pass, we really do have to sit down and set some new priorities about how we're going to move across Metro Atlanta. The Georgia Department of Transportation is doing a transformational project on the top end of 285, putting managed lanes in. That's not the part I'm excited about. I'm excited about the part where they're going to add transit to those managed lanes. And I credit the Commissioner of Transportation for his vision for how all of this is going to come together and how you leverage that private investment to get that public benefit of transit. I always admire the way that he thinks about these things. And so I'm really excited about that. So maybe if we shift our thinking to more those types of projects to enable transit where we're making other major transportation investments, that may be the next version of this that we see. Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you all so much. You've been so generous with your time. Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. We really appreciate the great work that you and your colleagues at ARC are doing for our community, and we really appreciate you coming and sharing it with us. So, that's all for this morning. We'll be back here at 10 o'clock. All right, thank y'all.